Another night stream. Yeah, figured I'd come back in a minute. 5 days. Become a little while. A little bit of a break compared to what I've been trying to do. Holiday weekend and things of the like. So yeah, I am kind of again without a plan. I've got a lot of things I want to work on. I posted a little bit today about some of like the blog I've been doing. I don't know if it's blog, mat, like digital mag, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I've been spending some time on that, working on like the branding of it, which I think has been interesting. Still got some photos to get through for the photo site. That is still going ahead. Talking with Ari, the scope kind of grew a lot. But he wants to do the big guy, or he calls it the big baby. I don't know. I'll call it the big baby if he wants to. So, but yeah, so there's different pages with that I need to do. There's still like the audio video component. Yeah, like so I'm just kind of opening this up to whatever makes sense. This is all things I need to just chip away on. None of it's on a super tight deadline. So I think for now I'll probably just start with scenes got all messed up again. Rookie streamer Pro. Yeah. So there's a couple things I want to do with this. I see a lot of potential for making this into something kind of interesting and dynamic with just like a little bit of foresight up front in terms of like starting with something very simple and then building it up to be something very powerful. So this is something I could do. Webflow always seems to be something most people are interested in. So it always seems like a safe bet, and like literally this website is always changing. So there's always something I can work on. So I might do that. There's one thing I was thinking about earlier. So I'm trying to get different sets of links in here. So I can link internally, and then I can have different sets of links for external links. So like these would be internal linking. The verbiage is so bad. Like it's really important to have like smart wording when you name these things. I don't know what like link is set. What link? Oh, it's link 1. This makes more sense. I was just looking at it like, what do you mean link set? Like I've got a lot of attributes to the link. What are we talking about? So right now this is all internal linking, so this is correct. Diving, this is internal. This is external. I don't know why this says internal. So again, just being thoughtful with class names. I don't know why. So if it's an external link, that's why it's not showing up, because this is for external links. So yeah, open a new tab. That's kind of the important thing to think about. Because this also affects like the page transitions. So the main thing I'm trying to avoid here is having an internal or an external link trigger a page transition out, and then it's left with like, let's say it opens the new tab and then you come back to the website, it's just that transition out where it fades to basically white, and you're just left with this kind of weird, like you literally can't do anything state. So kind of important to avoid something like that. So that's where like this conditional visibility shit is just like, it's such a pain And for me, just like my like scattered brain, it's such like a mind fuck sometimes of like, okay, when this is set, this is hidden. When this is set, this is shown. Um, is set, is not set. External link opens here. Don't want any animation to it. So that's where this is the internal link. Set, yeah, this is internal. So what I did is I just created like a combo class where, so if it has that interior combo class, it'll trigger the animation, which is triggered elsewhere. Or it's specified within the symbol as like a global element. So that's kind of the beauty of it. If I just give it this tap transition out on this link specifically, then it'll cue the transition. But then again, if I have a link out, like let's say to like social, or I want to promote, like it's like with the awards voting, which, yeah, something like this. So this should be link out, so it should have no transition out. So these little things are super important and super easy to get lost in something like a blog. These modules just start getting so complex, which is what I'm just going to keep pushing. So like within each of these, I want to have different layouts. So it's like, okay, if I post, and one thing is like with this grid. So if I do another grid, so I want to call this grid delta. So delta is the name I'm giving this page. It makes sense to me, and it's got a lot of like duality. I tend to like personal projects with a lot of duality in the name, in the design, like different ways it can be read. Like it's just kind of open to interpretation, and I never see the branding of these as super important. There's little Easter egg and little details in here that I think I'm probably going to be the only one to notice or care about. I think anyone who tries to read this, it's more or less like a logo. It's a word mark. If you're for those who want to try, or if they don't want to try, it's just like a logo. Looks like a bunch of characters. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. Like I really don't mind. I think having like the name Delta, and I think that gets lost a lot of times when people do. When they think about the design of pages, when they think about like, I don't know, projects in general, it's just like the little thing of like people understand the URL that they're coming to. They see like, they click a link called Delta and they see this and it's like, yeah, that probably means Delta in some like dumb way in this guy's head, but I don't get it and I don't really care. Like I'd rather check this out. I think the problem is like, in this specific case, like Delta makes no sense as a navigation link. It's not something that conveys much. So for me, like just to explain it, Delta is so there's the physical delta in a river, the delta river mouth, which just kind of disseminates out, which I think that's what this is. It's kind of like my creative consciousness. I had creative consciousness, but it sounds so like wankish, so I got rid of it. I think I said creative work. It sounds like more matter of fact, but it's like this kind of diversion that goes out into all these different areas of like photo, design, video, sound, music production, all that shit. And then I think the more important thing is Delta is like it's tracking the change. Because hopefully there's meaningful change that comes about. Like I think that's, I wrote that down here. It's like hopefully chronicling some sort of meaningful change / progression. And again, like this is something that is meaning to me, and it gets into this realm of like when does a personal project or just a project in general need to have clear meaning to the viewer? And I would say most times. Like I think that's the beauty of doing these kind of projects is like if I did this for a client, like if a client came to me with an idea of like a quick blog they want to post to, like basically exactly what I'm doing, but for public consumption, there's no way I would call it delta. No way I would do this word mark. Like this is kind of like fuck it. Like there's no rules in this shit, and if people don't like it, then they don't like it. That's okay. But then for me, I think it's going to be interesting to track. This will keep me honest. Thinking about just regular output. Um, it's going to push me with like the development through webflow in terms of what I can achieve. The grid is still a clusterfuck. Like it just breaks at random points. This column doesn't always fill out. It's really kind of funky. So I'm a little disappointed in this, to be entirely honest, but I'll figure it out. So that's kind of like the context for this page, because I sent it around to one or two people. It's like, hey, does this make sense? No. Like, I hope they're not mad that I just do it anyways, just because of all those reasons I just listed. I'm just being dumb. Yes, so one thing I do want to do is, yes, this grid. So I was stop mid-naming this div with this grid, just a div. G delta images 6. So this is something like if I have 6 images, and right now that's all I have really room for. I can add 3 more fields. I feel like the text color, I kind of like it. I don't know if I'm really going to need it. For one thing, I'm not sure. I don't know what this link to page reference is. Oh, that's this, excuse me. Video ID, we need that. Stream ID, we need that. Description, intro, post category, feature, note. I mean, I need all of this stuff, basically. And so this is where it gets frustrating with webflow limitations. I guess I could add up to 8. I could just burn 2 more and then I have 1 left. But this is, in order to unlock more, I've got to pay another like $30 a month. And it's like, why is this? They just draw these just random lines in the sand, and it's really frustrating. I get it, they have to make money at the end of the day. It's just how they do it sometimes is not always my favorite. Mostly because it impacts me. And like the reasons and like the things they withhold, the next level plan, like those don't seem like the delineations or like the distinctions that should be made of like collection items. Like why is that one of the lines like, oh, we're gonna limit you at 30. Once you go beyond that, you've got to go like full, like I think it's enterprise or some shit. It's like, I'm not enterprise. I just do like a lot of media stuff, and I want to reference a lot of things. Like take away other things that are more enterprise-like features. I'd be happy to forgo that, but it's just me. So the only thing, I think images are going to be the biggest thing. So actually, I'm going to do it, actually. So we'll do image. This is where multi-image would be great if I could just use 8 images and then I don't have to specify these each individually, but I can complain about that more. No, so I'm going to do that. And then I think this just needs to be option. No, it doesn't. I actually don't need this. I was thinking like manually select the layout, but I think if I just do it based on numbers, it doesn't really matter. So this would be 6. So this is ideally So this is where these get really complicated. And like, there's going to be so much in each one of these modules. Why does it say? It's saying webflow is unresponsive, which it is. Oh. I forgot I'm doing Chrome browsing, so you can't see my cursor. Sorry. Which all you're missing now is just the Chrome notification saying webflow is unresponsive. I'm just drawing circles with my cursor as I wait. I don't think I've ever seen it like give me 3 or 4 notifications. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this is probably only going to get worse, is the problem. So this will be my 6-image layout. So typically this will be here. I think I'll call this. And so this will be conditional visibility. So this will only be shown let's see, image 6 is set, and image 7 is not set. So that means it stops. So that's one way of creating like a limiter. So like very specifically, like the 6th image is set, the 7th image isn't. That's kind of where things stop. Just the same as this is going to be. Actually, I don't think I need to name these. I think if I just call these post images. And so this will be so this will be 5. So this is where I can just span first. So this just creates an even, and like I'm really kind of whatever about this sort of grid. This is something I want to work on in time. I looked at like offsetting it more, creating more like, I think this is step 1, getting like something specific to each one and then looking at how I can sort of expand each of them. The only thing that gets weird is like this sort of information's like it's set to stretch. And so if I get too tall, then I'm sort of losing the brevity of each post. It becomes this like really long, arduous scroll. And that's where originally I had a carousel, and I still have it. Actually, I may have gotten rid of it because I didn't like it as much. It's more one of those things of like, I'm not posting all that much, or I'm probably not going to have a ton of stuff to show. So if I do have multiple images to post, I should probably just show it. Pretty good. And plus, like, there's the off chance that people don't interact with the gallery. So if I extend these out, then I have to think about how this is being shown. Maybe this becomes like a sticky element, and it's whatever the height of this is. So maybe it's just think about each of those like featured images as like the main block. They're all about the same height. I probably need to consolidate them. The only thing that's going to be different is some of these images versus videos. These videos are being very problematic too. That's kind of what's shitting the bed with the grid view, but that's, yeah, I don't want to get into that again on stream. Unless there's a very specific request for it, because it's very painful and I don't know how to fix it. And yeah, like anyone coming through, if you're just showing up, I'm just kind of working on this random stuff. So if you have any requests specifically dive into, I'm pretty amenable tonight. And I don't think I'm going to do this the whole time. I do want to get through some photos. I'm really making a hard push to try and get a lot of photos done. sure I turn the notifications on. Stop. So I'm definitely hammering pretty hard on these images. And you know, it's getting there. I'm going through and just fixing a lot of them. I've heard that's more interesting, especially than me. I think last time I was getting into some of the nuances of this sort of design. Again, probably going to take a specific request for me to get back to this tonight. I think I've got a pretty good runway for Ari to get started. He's got some other client projects. He's again working on the Zoom. He sent me a message as like, I was in bed and I think I figured it out. Like, he's just like breathing, sleeping this this Zoom functionality. It's kind of wild. So with this, you can do the same thing. So basically, we're gonna do like repeat the same thing for all of them, and then just set the same conditional visibility of like, okay, so this is going to be my 5. So 5 is set, 6 is not. And so that's this right here. This is the 5th image right here is set. The 6th is not. So this is the layout it's going to pull. The second, if I like go in and where is it? Images in the screensaver. Let's say so this. Let's say I just dump this in here for shits. So then it should go to the 3-up grid. Yeah. So just creating like just variability in it. Where I like, again, all of this stuff, it's boring as shit to do in some ways. It's cathartic, I think. I really like doing it. It's not the most exciting form of design, but like for me, just putting in this little extra legwork up front, so I have something like, okay, I've got 20 minutes. I just want to like get something up. I already have that set up. I don't have to think about it. So that's where I'm kind of excited about this. So do this again. I probably should start dumping some of these. So this is 5. I don't need all 6. So just like trying to be as lean as possible. All these like unused elements. So this will be 4 is set. I didn't save it. That's smart. 4 is set. 5 is not. Okay, so that does not apply to anything. So I'll probably want to do, let me just get a couple site images. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Some of them are not edited, so some actions are hidden and presets are checked. Put into untitled export folder. What? Okay. Originals photo. So in order to test this, I do want to make another post, probably tonight or tomorrow, just like acknowledging like there's a lot of images being added. So we'll create a new, this needs to be called Delta now. It's going to be called Deltas. Delta. What is that? What is Delta? My one's not heard of Delta. Victim? Ooh, I don't know about that. delta. So, okay. New delta. Single delta. Plural version. Test. I never knew you could do this. This must be new. So, it has been interesting because Webflow's been going through their wish list again. Like everything that I posted in their wish list thing, they've just marked reviews or reviewed. I think I made a comment about that last time, but they're just still going. They're really trying to clear out the queue. More TV things. So this is images. So this notification type specifies, like, in the media div, there's all these different divs of if I just do text, if I just do images, single image, video, or live stream. Like, it's all different elements that are being triggered. Featured is basically how I show things on the homepage. So right now, I think I just switched it. This shouldn't be flashing. It's kind of not good. Where does this go? I haven't tested this. Okay, it does work properly. But if I flag something as featured, that's when it'll show up on the homepage. And I do want to have a featured section within the actual Delta page. But not quite there yet. Post category, update, intro, more, even more photos. Whatever. So this will then link to screensaver, TV app. Saver. So now if I do, all right, originals. But going on to assets site, originals, photos. Where the hell? Interesting. Originals, photos. Photos, settings. So here's my 8. And so these are compressed down to a smaller size. Yeah, 194K. So just do this. And what I can do is just add them this way. 74 actually. Let's see, we'll need this 0, 6, 0, or no, 0, 7, 0, 6, 2, 1. So this is how I get that grid of what's it called? Of these numbers. I think I can be smarter about it. Because I think there's a way if I do should look into this actually. Published. So what's this date? This is published. So this should be published on. They have year full, but they don't have like the single digit year. I don't think. They have the last two, and I can't. Weekday full. They have the day. Yeah, they just don't have any way of breaking out individual digits, which is why I've had to just create for like a bunch of different inputs, which is kind of annoying. So this is taking up what 6 different data points in my CMS collection just to be able to do that. I could do 06 for the month, 22 for day, and then at least they could probably just, no, I'd need it sort of its own thing. That would I probably have to specify. But the problem is like, so this is on a grid, and it's all center aligned, so it keeps the space between them the same. So the only issue is like when you get one, it gets a little weird if you have like the two, like if this 21 is one text block and you have that trying to line up underneath 20, it just doesn't balance out very nicely. So this at least lets me like line up the 2s and then more or less line up the 0s and the 1s. It's a little offset just because of the inherent spacing in the font, which I probably need to clean up. Actually, the 1s are pretty fucked. That's a good reminder, actually. Yeah, okay. Fix that. There's like weird widths and like in the stem down here, I like made some last minute changes and I didn't really check the thickness of it across all the weights. So that's where I had someone asking me about the Jw.S like being available for download, and it's just I don't want anyone else to have to be in like what the fuck is going on. Like there's weird stuff like this, like the thickness in some of the characters gets a little weird. I think the biggest problem is hinting right now. So hinting is how as best. Let me pull up the best explanation I can think of. Hinting font. The use of mathematical instructions to adjust the display of an outline font so that it lines up with the rasterized grid. So at low screen resolutions, hinting is critical for producing clear, legible text. It can be accomplished by anti-aliasing and on the display subpixel rendering for further clarity. So this is a lot of like the smaller fonts. That's where you see it. Like you won't notice many problems in my fonts on this size. There's so many pixels you can use for displaying it that there's really not much like anti-aliasing going on. There's no pixel level rasterization going on that has any sort of meaningful impact on the fonts. But once you get into like stuff like this, it starts becoming more important. Basically, all you need to do is like really, I kind of know how to do it. Like you have to like, if there's straight lines or things that need to stay intact, you basically need to like draw lines around it. So it knows when it anti-aliases at the smaller sizes, it like keeps that intact, or it keeps like the top of the T intact. The only thing I'm not sure of is like how to best handle curves. And FontLab has an auto font hinting, which I think works. I thought I did it. Apparently I didn't. I tried to like override a couple. So not quite there yet. So yeah, so now we're back here. So we are on, so you see, because I have 4 images, this is the layout it's pulling up. In which case, I don't know if it just goes like, so these will be like placeholder for now. Might review. Span 2 columns, please. So fairly I mean, very boring. I'll say it. Very boring. Um, so that'll be the next step, is making these somewhat more interesting. I'm just trying to create like a clean resolution to the grid right now, so there's not any like random offsets. And part of it might be is just like maybe this doesn't span 2 columns, this just spans one, but it's like offset to the middle. In which case I may want to think about making these actually 8 column. Yeah, I think probably 6. But, so I'm probably going to have to go back and redo some work right here. Oh, man. See, this is the kind of thing you want to do up front. Okay. So I know it looks like dog shit, but just set to 6. There we go. So now I can do like manual positioning on the grid. So this is, I mean, I could probably do this all at once now. So let's say I'm going to do manual. I have it start on column 2, end on column 4. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Sometimes, like when you manually override things, but you don't do all of them, things get kind of funky. Like it wants to autofill the grid. And so that's what this is trying to do. Because this is on auto positioning, it's going to try and like tuck it in. Like let's say this is just going to be 4, 4. So now each of them has its own row. But I'm starting to think like I think maybe 8. I could see cases for 8 where just because then maybe having these offset a little bit. Idea. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having the first one sort of span and be like the hero of it, but then having these being able to like indent a little bit. So let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 8. And this one, 1, 2, 3. Sure. So again, like this can be better. This should be better. I don't think I can leave it like that. That's not okay. Let's go 2 to 4. No, 3 to 5. And so the other thing to think about now that if I'm making more organic layouts, is what is this? What's the row spacing? Because I'm not going with like this clean sort of this clean like consolidated grid. I think having a bit more spacing will help. Like let's just lean into it. Okay. Why not? Kind of sucks. I mean, maybe this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this. But the bigger issue being is I want to air these out potentially a lot. like this height should be standardized. It's not. It's gonna have. So that's where I like the fact that this is neatly lined up. Yeah, it's, like protocol these. And so what I could also do is like, I could have images have its own separate content layout. So this would be like content post standard, and then content post images. Images would have like this fixed height. So I know all my images are going to be 3x2. So I could very easily get this right. Fuck it, let's just do it. Let's go to the loony bin. It's the kind of shit, like, you just have to sit with this, and I have to keep going, so bear with me. And so this would be, this should be 3. Why? Well, I'm not be able to do this. So this would be duplicate class, C post content, context, images. So I only want this to be shown if images plural. Where is it? Notification type. Equals images. You see all these other ones that are not specified as images, it is not showing. And so this is only visible in notification type. Does not equal images. I mean, it wasn't that bad, I guess. So and so this height, how does this span all the way to the bottom? So this height should be, so we'll be able to measure it in a function of width because it's proportionate to like a 3x2 image. So height, let's say, as a starting point, 30 view width. Not quite right. Almost 39 view width. So we just want to expand these. And then this also should be able to be sticky. So usually I'd say 11 view height, but that's where this is. So it'll, oh, it's not even done. Why not? I do think I need to make it in a div. So this needs to be 3 columns. one thing I don't understand is if it's always going to be a different amount of rows, how do I get it to stick for the whole thing? Maybe grid is not what I need. So if I don't do grid, it should be pretty straightforward. I just have to set the width as 33%. 66%. 62. This is the padding that's in there. So I don't understand, like, if this is right, why is this going outside? It's relative. I think 45 high. See, this one's doing it incorrectly. Why? Oh, it's because this is not. No. Nope. See, it's messing up all this stuff too. Is the stick working? Not working. Context. So this should be height 100%. No, I know what I do. I just fuck this up. Need to get out of that div again. Back into a grid. This undo can be kind of painful. So you have to put a lot of faith in this undo sometimes. Just like, damn, I don't know if this is gonna work the way it should. Okay. So this largely works. I think all I have to do is put this within a div. Have the parent div 100%. Have this stick within. Right. Percent. This needs to span 2 columns. It's something weird. Have to go back more. If something's broken because that image should be left aligned with this meta. If it's not, then that's dead giveaway. Something's fun. Okay, still not right. Still not right. Unless this has always been busted and I just never noticed it, but I'd like to think I would have seen that. I don't know. Now I have no idea what I'm doing. Kind of in uncharted waters right now. I like to fuck around with this grid. What would we do? Is it still specifying a width? That's the one thing I'm concerned about. Really? Columns. 8 columns, 1 view width. It lines up there, but then it just extends out. What the fuck is that? What is this? Let's see what happens on preview. So preview it is correct, but for some reason not in the editor. I don't know. Some sort of bug somewhere. I don't know if it's the light box that's throwing it off. Sometimes condition of visibility has something to do with it. I really don't know. Probably need to look into that. There's got to be a reason for it. Something I'm not doing right. Huh. Weird. I mean, push comes to shove, I can crop, but it's just, there's got to be something wrong with the grid, maybe. There's too many columns. Something spanning too far. It's like this image is going too far. 8 column grid. I think that's, yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, that's fixed. Let's see if I can get this to work. I haven't made good on that before, but believe me. Let's do this. Oh, this conditional visibility needs to be on this and not on that. That's why. So there's still an extra div. Notification type is. Oh, I did not. It was. There we go. So this would have to be 100% height. I'm not totally sure this is going to work. It's not. It should be sticking to 11. It should be sticking like right here. For some reason. And I think the problem is the grid. Yeah. It's almost like this should be just 2 columns. Let's try it. Columns. See post content on text. So this should be 1. And now it's on a 50-50 split. I just don't know if I can control it well enough to get it. So I wonder if I make percent. This would be 40%, 33. That looks right. So why are you not sticking? Try this again. Stick the 11 view height. This is where, like, it's a weird bug that you can't have anything with, like, overflow hidden anywhere on this chain up, otherwise it breaks it. So I just have to check. Here, tab content. Yep, there you go. That's annoying. You can see it sticks now. The problem is this is also set to 11 view height, so it's matching the top of that. So to get this to work, I just need to add, like, is it 20? No. I think that'll get it close. Just thinking something that scales. It's not going to be exact, but that's why these will just not have any sort of scrolling. So the height 39 view width actually needs to come down. I thought 39 was weird. I thought it should have been an even number. Don't ask me why. But yeah, so that sticks now. Oh, I forgot I have to specify the arrows on this. I'm kind of bummed on. So it's like trying to get something to stick in the right position where, like, this is 11 view height because that's the height of the menu is 11 view height. You can see that matches up there. but this is a fixed size in pixels. So if I can't do like, as far as I know, 20 view height plus 20 pixels, and it just turns it into pixels. I'd love to be able to do that sort of math. It should be doable. The other way to really do it is like just adding. So if I do 11 view height, 80 pixels. The problem, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Maybe it does. It's kind of like a hack I found. I don't know if it's the best approach. So the top of the div technically goes here. So it's keeping the same exact positioning, but the div's kind of just cheating up a little bit. And the only thing to make sure of is that this sits behind these tabs. Otherwise, this div potentially could mask the what's it called? The tabs from actually working. Remember when I said I knew like what that should be? Don't listen to me. And it doesn't scale. Why? This should be 3x2. It should be cover. Height should be auto. It's set to cover. It should maintain the same aspect ratio, but it doesn't seem to be. Something's going wrong in my math. I don't know. I don't think this pixel height, because the pixel heights, that's not messing with it. Height. Because the size of this image is entirely calculated based on the width. So that's where if it's like, you set the height to a width, it should retain proportions. Should. See, ooh, we've got horizontal scroll. That's not good. I don't think that's the issue. Somewhere, something specified that shouldn't be. I don't feel like I need to specify this is like 66% or whatever it is. Something really strange is going on. This grid, one column. Damn, I really messed this up. Sorry. Is there just too many columns? Right here. Yeah, something's getting weird with the scaling. Because it should be scaling down to that size. something in this. One column span. Nothing else is having this issue. That's usually where I kind of start. Okay, I'm just gonna start deleting shit to see what happens. If I get rid of this guy. Does fix it. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why is there only 7 now? 8. Eight columns. 6 columns. This is painful. Isn't this super exciting? Oh, it's amazing. Most entertaining stream ever. This could be the end of it pretty soon. Like this kind of stuff, it's just so painful that I just don't want to. I don't need to expose you guys to this. Something in this first image, I don't know why. This light box going 8 columns. And why does it work now? I go narrower? Breaks. This is not how this is supposed to work. Ah, shit. I gotta take a phone call real fast. I will be right back in 2 minutes. botched the hell out of that. I keep forgetting if I take my headphones off, it switches audio, my audio settings. So then it takes, if it switches audio settings, it takes the desktop audio off. I don't know what, or if anything you heard while I was gone. I'm inclined to just kind of say fuck it right now. This is just like not the kind of thing I want to do on stream. There's something I really don't know what the problem is. If I set this to 0, it's like my last guess. If I set it to 0, it's still causing problems though. I don't understand at all. I have like zero clue what this could potentially be. I don't know. I tried. Photos? Bueller? I'm gonna go ahead and close this. So again, I'm finding new images just from like going through the catalog. I saw a couple on the TV app that were just like, I should have fixed those yesterday. But I don't know what they're called. That one's not terrible. This is pretty bad, actually. Photos, text, 00193. This guy. Go to folder in library. I haven't even looked at this folder yet. Key's not working. But I did do one recently. I do wonder if I can just copy. Wow, so that's the old Lightroom pre-capture one edit. A bit saturated, I would say. This is pasting an edit, so that's not going to work. I'm not going to even try. It's good I finally put the photo profile on before starting the stream. That always crashes things. So I'm learning. It's a slow, painful process. A lot of these I'm like, this just feels really saturated. And the performance should be a lot better now. I've started using smart previews, and I will say the difference is pretty noticeable. Like if I click in and have a full res, everything slows down and starts chugging quite a bit. So if you don't use smart previews, I would recommend it. Sort of my highlight blowout. I'm determined to figure out a way to do halation in Lightroom. I just don't think there's a way of doing it from what the current tools offer, but Could be an interesting challenge. This one, like, I don't feel like it needs... Oh, my cursor's gone. Oh, there it is. Hey. This one doesn't need a whole lot. It's one of those ones where it's just like... Just don't fuck it up. Sometimes it feels like you have to do things, and you don't always. Already, there's kind of... This just feels chunky. I gotta check skin tones again. This is blue. Yeah. That's what I was talking about one of the other streams. Trying to bring that back. That's a big mistake a lot of people make, is just not getting the temperature right. Because it just looks... It looks so nice when everything's like this really picturesque blue. But that's just because the color temperature is not right. So always check that. So I just think like the shadows are particularly harsh. The lighting's really direct, so it kind of creates this like hard shadow line, but not much to be done about it, if I'm being honest. And since messing with the color temperature again, I just want to check the shadows. Oh, it's gone. Why isn't my cursor disappearing? That's so strange. Never had that happen before. These just help. I think as the global temperature's a little bit more correct. These color grades are kind of applying, I think they're all blue to try and get it back, except for highlights are kind of greenish. I haven't even touched these yet. Again, if I don't really need to, probably better. I don't know what it is about this image, but it's always kind of stood out. There's nothing really like that remarkable about it. It's just like the simplicity, the calmness. That's the old edit. That's the new. It does feel a little flat in comparison, but I'm alright with that. I'm just really sensitive about anything appearing oversaturated. There you go. You kind of like downplay that a little bit. Colors seem a little strange. This is where it's probably better to do, like, if I want to get the board a certain color, to do a local edit. Just because you'll start fucking with skin tone so much. I bet you there was a a local letter on the board before. I'd like to see it a different color, but I don't know how bad I really want it. Let's see if reds doesn't really do anything. Nope. Surf, South Bay. Pretty happy with it. Almost seems a little magenta-y. I don't know if I'm seeing things. I think it helps. Okay. Export. Wallpapers. South Bay Surf selects. Boom. Oh. So as I'm like tracking some of these down, it's been good to just go through these and find images that I hadn't marked or kind of migrated over. I swear this image is the craziest like out of camera image I've ever seen. Like for water shots, like this is 100% unedited. It's just wild, like going through, because like if you know water photography, like this is, you get a lot of shots like this, like water on the port or focus isn't quite right. So we're just going through and it's just like, fuck, like pose is right, hands almost like on the water there. It's just wild. Yeah, you can see the, man, that's pretty bad. All the vignetting from the port, not great. I do like the image though. So this is the latest version of it. This one I know I've got to push pretty hard. I don't, like with my kind of softer approach now, I don't know if this is really going to work. Like, this is what I'm starting with. Let's see if we can do it. I don't know where all that vignetting is. I must have been doing some really weird stuff. Maybe not. Maybe just start pulling down some of the shadows to try and create contrast and start showing up. And this kind of stuff, just pure accident. There's no way to plan this shit. I think just punching in is probably the solve. I don't. I'm gonna be fighting that no matter what I do. You can tell the performance difference because I clicked into it and it loaded the full preview. Definitely feels like it's chugging a bit more. Skin tones are fucked right now. I'm very aware of that. So again, using these sliders, just adding even more contrast. Whether that's good or bad, find out. Ultimately, I'm hoping to fix the skin tones with the HSL sliders. I think the overall balance is just so strange. I don't know if I have the luxury of fixing it there. Like with the calibration, it's not even responding. Anything. I don't know how I'm going to fix that. Closer. Better? Yes. Overall color kind of suffers, but yeah, literally nothing I can do with HSL is affecting the skin tones. It's because the original image is just so... This is the old edited version. It's kind of interesting to see. Skin tones very not good. There's some nice stuff going on. The highlights. This is where I'll probably do it this way. Convert. See, even that, it's just so heavy-handed. Gotta check something. There we go. Yeah, I don't know how I got the blowout. Like, that looks pretty awful. There's good things about this, there's bad things about it. A lot I don't like about it. I just wonder if there's something I could salvage. Oh yeah, look at that. Clarity down. Wow, why is dehaze? Yeah, see if you see that much change, kind of look out. Like, look at this banding. This is being pushed really hard. Kind of resolved itself a little bit, I guess, with like the full preview. But that is a dead giveaway right there, typically, that there's just too much going on. Probably, yeah, what's going on here? Sharpness up. I added some warmer temp. What is this? Oh, so that's how I got the water temp holder. You can see it's just not actually like less. This may be salvageable. I don't know. I'm like very apprehensive after seeing that sort of banding. I've been trying pretty hard to avoid banding now, and that's like dead giveaway. You can see like the shadows aren't being pushed, so that's not, it had like a haloing around him. I don't know, this could be alright. As many like bad, ill-advised things are going on here. One place I'm scared to check are the color channels. I feel like it's just gonna be bad. Oh, look at this delineation. Saturation yellows are all the way up. That's no good. Saturation of aquas are up. You can see like this is where it's just creating this banding. And so this is what I was talking about before about like chasing down like any adjustments. So you can see like if I don't mess with this, like because the aqua's pushed so hard, it creates this hard color contrast, and that's where you get like this sort of weird pixelation ghosting type shit. So one way to like kind of check that is to just like pull them closer to the middle, or like if you pull the aquas further, like all right, like maybe move the green closer. But then you're kind of getting in like a, I don't know, you're like just trying to chase things down, and I feel like there's probably a better way to fix it. Yo, what's up, Alexa? Soft vibe, yeah. Yeah, this one does. I'm trying to like get it back to a softer vibe. The original was a bit harsh, but I wonder if like adding colors on top could maybe help bridge the gap on some of this. This is just not it. I don't like the green as much, but I think it's better than... See, that's the natural color. Can you use camera calibration sliders for what you want? Maybe. So this is like, I tried to do an edit from scratch, I think right before you got here, and it just didn't go to plan. I think some of what I'm hoping for can probably be through the calibration. Yeah, maybe making the greens like just a little bit more tealish. But I like the uniformity of it when it was more blue. More like a... What is it? Not that. That doesn't feel, that was pretty good. I guess this isn't too far off. That's not doing anything. It's just the skin tones again. Like the reds are. Yeah, no, get me down for that. It's not bad. Again, if I can just. Yeah, look at that. It's really tempting, but it's just not. I can't in good conscience do it. Thank you. Oh, what a shot. It'll look good with any color. Yeah, I mean, this is just dumb luck. Like shooting at the horizon line. Like water's over the port. I think this is like right before. So it's like if you shoot at the water line, like sometimes you can see like it creates this like ghosted look. Sometimes it creates double images, sometimes it creates just like softness. But then like here, it just, something with the glare, like I don't know how the glare ended up like right around him like this. But I think this is probably the best option so far, but I want to kind of sit on it, I think. Another black and white. It's really tempting. I mean, let's see if I... Whoa. Interesting. These are all old edits. Very old edits. Oh my god. So maybe can't take any color. Most colors. This is just so bad. I just need to reset black and white. Yeah, just with how like this preset softens things a little bit. Too much for that, but yeah. At least this is flagged and in the folder. Kind of forgot about that. So many of these images I've forgotten about. Got that one. Got that one. Yeah, this is the correct one. Okay. Also, I can actually, yeah, so this is the other one. This is from Capture One. This is so bad. I'm so happy to see that go. Oh my god. Good riddance. That's the updated one. Not perfect, but it's a large improvement. Even if it's dumb lucky, still to be there and point the camera. Yep. Very true. I mean, you end up making your own luck. And there's just so many shots with water photography. It's just getting out numbers constantly. Yeah, this is another one. I just don't think this has a spot. Yeah, so this is from here. I'm curious to see if I can make something of this. Reset. Yeah, what's the line that... I mean, it's like the best camera is the one you got. That's like the biggest thing for me has been like getting out in the water with the camera and not surfing. But now it's like I don't surf at all, so it's super easy. So this could be, I don't know. I don't have high hopes for this, but this is one where I'm kind of resigned to it being, I don't know, being really aggressive with it, knowing it's kind of almost abstract, and so the rules of, I don't know, normal photos that I take don't really apply. Like if I can manufacture some like interesting colors out of this texture, like, I think that's the best chance this thing has of being anything. Because if I don't, if I just go like hard and fast of like, oh, make sure it's soft, like it's gonna end up kind of as this fuzzy thing, and I don't know. It could be all right, but these are some of the ones where I just want to say, fuck it, and just go wild. Although I'll probably come up with something safe. They all shout and bang on shit when I'm sleeping, but now that I'm up, everything is quiet. Oh, I can definitely imagine. Do a solar curve. I wonder what will happen. What's a solar curve? I don't think I've heard of that before. And I think mostly, I don't think the colors are going to be that well. I think it's mostly manufacturing contrast. It might get kind of greasy. Oh, I don't know. This is... Oh. Oh, that's got to be smart preview. Yeah, that's why. Damn, dumping the luminance on the blue is just... I feel like this is begging for something just weird in the color curves in the individual channels. Got a link. Let's see what we got. Select it, you fuck. There we go. Oh shit, I've never even heard of that. Solar curve, huh? That looks like it'd be pretty wild. I mean, that's that's what I was just saying, is like getting into the curves panel to do something interesting here, because this is just feels boring. But I could see this just... I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm just... I don't know, something different. Curious. Huh. That is usually used to see shit that you don't normally see, like noise, dust, and inconsistency. It's a technical thing, but might produce some interesting results. That's pretty wild. You just do like offsets. Let's make a duplicate here. Oh, we're going for it. I'm sure there's a way to get these smoother. I don't know why it's being... It looks like some of them you can't. It looks like there's just subtle offset. Nothing like jumping on YouTube at 1 a.m. See John motherfucking White doing his thing. You're coming in at a very interesting time, so it's we're trying solar curves. Good lord. I'm glad I don't have an edible right now. Lose my goddamn mind. Problem is, like, you don't have this like visibility into the other channels so quickly. It's like, I'm assuming the offset's really important here. Is this right? You can do less peaks? Yeah, what if we just do... Just do like sine waves like this? Like, what's the end result supposed to look like with the solar curves? Is this something you do on top of like a... I mean, that's pretty wild. Why is it... Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, what, like, let's see. Ah, interesting. It's used to find color banding too. Hmm. Or you could spare this work for yourself and download the solar curve preset. Oh, solar curve Lightroom. Really? No one's got the solar curve Lightroom preset? Sun flares. Great. It's funny, like no one has it. It's like only done in Photoshop. Why does no one think to do this in Lightroom? Because banding's a big problem in Lightroom. If you push things too hard, if there was just like an adjustment layer, or it's like I could just like test out banding. Or no, you can't do that. Never mind. Maybe that's why. Because you can't do an adjustment layer with curves. Pretty nice. You can do that in Capture One, for sure. I like the thinking, though. Like, so, again, like I want to push it, but it's just, I get all tepid about it. I don't think I'm in the right mind state. I need to have like an edible and come at this thing. Some of the edits, I was doing a couple other edible edits the other night. Oh my god. Just wild shit coming up. I don't know if I have any of them. What was some of the ones I was working on? I took this one to a lot of really weird places. I saw a previous stream where you mentioned you wanted to bring local scroll into webflow, sent you a DM with a Twitter with a resource to check it out. So, dude, Val, thank you so much, man. It's definitely something I want to do. For some reason, Twitter DMs, like, it's like the notification badge needs to stay there, and it doesn't. And so I lose track of, there's so many, like, Twitter messages I've just been like, oh shit, it's been like 6 months since I responded to this. Totally forgot about it. So thank you for the reminder. I honestly, like, I very much needed that. But yeah, it'd be great to, I was working on the website before. I don't know if you were here for that. I broke my blog trying to do some stupid stuff. But yeah, just getting like some of those scroll interactions in here would be nice. Getting it in the homepage. I think at some point I'm going to want to do a homepage refresh. Just evolve it over time. If I could bring some scroll interactions to it, because right now it's really light on scroll interactions and effects. I actually don't think there might be a slight fade now. I can't remember if I still have that. Yeah, it's there. It's kind of whatever. I don't want to do like motion for motion's sake, but just having options I think would be sweet. I think Locomotive, like their whole thing gives you a lot of options there. So yeah, thank you, Sal. Appreciate that. I don't really see other streamers use curves in Lightroom as much as you. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't think, like the whole like cinematic editing style, before the color grading thing, everything was done in Lightroom or in tonal curves. Now I don't use it as much because they have the color grading tool, but let's see if I can find an old edit. So I was always in here just kind of like modifying. It was always pretty slight. I never went too crazy with it, but doing like color correction type shit, it was all done through here. Because then there was split toning, so I'll have the highlights and the shadows in some of these like updated images, but yeah, it's interesting that people don't use it more. I talked about it before. Like I just ate shit with the curves panel for so long. It was like this thing that I didn't understand because I'd sit here and like modify points and be like, okay, that makes sense. But then how does it make sense across multiple channels? Like if I modify greens in the midtones on one and I modify blues in another way, like why am I getting this like crazy shit? You get banding really quickly, you get random colors really quickly, and I don't really know what clicked for it to figure it out. Um, I'm sure some people would say I still haven't quite figured it out, but I mean, there's crazy people who do all sorts of color grading at a professional level who probably look down on some stuff I do. Um, it's all right. I'll get there. I used to think I had it figured out, but now I look back on things I did in the past, and I definitely didn't have it figured out. So, always learning. But yeah, it's. I actually want to sit down and watch some people in other Lightroom streams, um, or photo editing streams, and I know I've been rated by a couple people on here, which is great. Um, Came to find out that there's like um, there's a community based around photography on Twitch. It was interesting. Like Sal, I see you're on. I have like the multi chat stream. You're still on YouTube, so I'm still going on that. I don't know when the month is up for my Twitch Prime or no Streamlabs Prime, but I don't know. It's been interesting. I did Twitch. It went crazy, and then it's been pretty quiet since. So we'll see where things go. And I don't know how I got on that topic. Oh, other people in Lightroom. Yeah, I'd be curious. I just saw the curves as like the only way to really achieve the looks that I wanted. So I made a point to learn it. And my edits went backwards for so long. Like whoever followed me on Instagram at that point were real they were in it for the long game, and I appreciate them so much. Because man, there was some bad stuff going on. And like it's been interesting, like going to Capture One, coming back, having more options in terms of tools, and then trying to like bend that into how I use Lightroom now, where there's some limitations compared to Capture One, but it's not bad. I went even further with curves in Photoshop. I put them in soft light mode and turned curves 45 degrees so it's horizontal, and it's sick what you can do with it now. Can't do that in Lightroom, sadly. Yeah, I've messed around with that too, like really like blend modes of adjustment layers, just trying just crazy things. Um, yeah, it'd be like the fact that they've incorporated layers into this is strange. The fact that the performance is bad as it is without many layers, like there's these sort of different masks, but you can't manage them. You can't do like blend modes on them. You can set ranges for the masks, but you can't. I don't know. There's so many different things you can do in Photoshop that I don't know. I'm sure they have reasons for not doing it. Kind of makes me sad, but yeah. I mean, this could be the be-all, end-all. I just don't know what's holding them back from the performance front and like really getting this to like the next level. Like this interface has been largely like they've added tools. I don't want to overlook that. I'm very happy that they've done that. But overall, this has been kind of a stagnant product. But even in its stagnant state, it's better to me than Capture One or any other alternative out there. And so I've recommitted to it. I don't know if that's a mistake, but yeah, like, depending on YouTube or on Adobe to do the right thing is just not a ideal position to be in. These YouTube streams have been solid, man. Super chill and down to earth. Never use Twitch, but if you end up streaming exclusively on there, fuck it, I'll download it. So you won't have to download it. Well, I guess I don't know if you're on your phone or not. Yeah, just live on the site as well. There's just some more like community aspects to it, some more tools for me as a streamer. But I'm glad you're liking it, man. I try and watch mine periodically to try and like get a viewer perspective of what I'm doing, and I don't have the greatest personality for this. Like, I think this probably could have grown a lot faster if I had a more gregarious personality, but yeah, they're kind of low key and sleepy, and like sometimes I just ramble on for a long time about really random shit, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. So I'm glad you're getting something out of it. And it's interesting. Like, there's moments where there's a lot of people who are like giving a lot of feedback, but I think like retention and keeping people here and interested, it's just like, I don't know. I could probably put more effort into figuring it out, but I kind of just want to do whatever I want to do. And if it's like you guys like it, and I'm always making the caveat, if I'm working on photos, like ask me about videos or design or whatever. Like I'm on board. So yeah, again, really appreciative of everyone who comes through, and stoked anyone gets any value out of my rambling. That's what's quiet for you. It's one. Oh shit, Alex. I thought the alerts weren't working. Oh, that's great. Steep rule. It's 1 a.m. in U.S. and 8 a.m. here, 7 a.m. in Western Europe, so everyone's asleep. Yeah, I don't think I picked this one too well. I've got my little clocker thing, so I need to add like more time zones to this. I'll do it later. But yeah, that's probably more strategic. Actually thinking about this stuff up front, probably not a bad idea. I always read you as John Wayne Studio. I mean, worse things to read. I'm cool with that if you are. Like yeah, maybe just get some like John Wayne sound bites. Oh, Soundwayne. Jeez, John Wayne soundboard. Oh god. Yeah, just like get these randomly. Yeah, I'm blocking advertising. I got your pants.
Take down your pants.
These could be the notification sounds. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Just saying. What did I do? I even downloaded Twitch, but I just joined via YouTube. Oh, okay. Wait, downloading Twitch? Is there a Twitch app for phones? Should probably think about that too. Yes, what devices is everyone on? Yeah, there's Twitch. Yeah, of course there has to be a Twitch app. Gotta write it text real fast. But I think, yeah, understanding like what devices people are on might help inform this decision, like whether it's like, does the mobile app need to be really good? I always like when I watch streamers, I watch them on desktop, but I don't want to think my experience is what everyone else is doing. So definitely open to input here. Sorry, I know this is not good. I have to respond to this. um, oh yeah. Also, there's on the design side a pretty rad announcement coming up too. I don't know when. Don't have an exact date, but something pretty rad to talk about. Can't give out any more hints than that, but it's pretty rad. Okay. Sorry. Oh shit! Chat was scrolled. I need my illegal music easily accessible. We have to trust you on this. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I got my old laptop. It's got so many songs downloaded from blogs and sketchy websites that I never redistributed. If I'm on the record. Yeah, sorry, this whole chat was scrolled and doesn't give me an indication that it was scrolled. Um, Build it and they will come. I hope so. You know, um, that's the mentality I've taken, and like with most things, with my creative sort of career, I guess you'd call it, and like how I share things. Like I don't really stress about things in terms of like, oh, is it getting traction? Is it how can I optimize? Like, you know, people like it, they'll find it. If they don't, then I probably wasn't meant to stream shit. And so I just want to try this again. The colors are just not. I don't know why I've had such a hard time with this one. This was like probably one of the raddest things. I thought I was gonna get eaten by a bear, like right after I took this. It was kind of wild. This is where I always like get in like a weird spot. Like I don't know if I should like pull up from like an underexposed or if I should knock down highlights from like a higher exposure. I think it depends on the image type. Are Jw.S, Ari, and Big Daddy Brian Powell joining forces? No. No, not that I'm aware of. Um, yeah, Ari and Brian are doing that sunglasses company. I don't know what it's called. I know they're going through design right now. Already wanted to pick up some work, and that seemed like a pretty rad opportunity. So he's kind of splitting time between that and the photo site. Again, he's just absurd. He's just working. I think he said like 16-hour days, 7 days a week is what he's doing right now. Which is just like, I used to be able to do that. Now I'm a little softer. But no, there's some other good stuff to talk about. And the other collaboration that didn't end up working out because of time, I think I'm going to be posting some stuff about that in time. It's just some of the details of how I do it might need to kind of be ironed out. So I'm really, really proud of that one. It's such a bummer that it was a time thing, it was a process thing. Would have been really cool, but the designs that went into it, like I buried a lot of time into that. So I want to at least be able to post it. I want to make sure everyone's okay with what I post, how I post, all that good stuff. Again, these colors are just, I don't know why this one's being so weird. I don't think I've gotten, no, I got one edit done earlier. Struggle bus is here. One's blowing up. I'm sorry. I want to check to see if I ever got this right. I just feel like it should be like low-hanging fruit. Like, hey, dark, cloudy, but something about like the sun popping through, which it's not that much. Like this, I think the problem lies in like how dark this is, which this is weird that that's how it's coming through. This is the raw, unedited. It's like, I don't know what that line is. That's very strange. Struggle bus? Yeah. I'm front seat of the struggle. I'm driving the struggle bus right now. Oh my god. This is like, I don't know if it'll help people feel better. Like, it's like everyone just puts out like this really polished, like, oh, I had this idea and I executed it start to finish and I never took a step sideways. It's like, I think everyone knows that's bullshit and that's not how anything works, but people can watch it now. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's a real thing. My pain, hopefully for your gain. It's not that painful. I've made peace with the fact that like I go backwards all the time. And like I just don't care, like can't care what people think. Like random stuff started showing up in the analytics of like people looking at my site and just like analyzing, like they like broke down everything that was wrong with it, and I was just like, okay, it's a portfolio site. I mean, this was needed to convert. You can look at my ecom work. I know how to convert, I just don't want to. I don't care to. But yeah, long story short, like you put anything out there, like someone's gonna be pissed. It's just one of those things. And it always stings, but it's like, am I gonna lose sleep over it? Just let them go. You can do local adjustments and limit it with luminosity mask. Yeah, I do that I do that with my global sort of highlight softening. So I just do like the highlights through here, which sometimes this is all I need. I just don't know what the identity of this fucking thing is. It just seems so obvious to just keep it cold and blue, but it just feels like it wants more. But maybe this just isn't the image for it. Again, it's not terrible. It's just kind of... I've felt better about images before. We can all watch you smash your head against the wall in real time like every one of us designers. Yeah. There you go, man. I am no different than anyone else. I've been doing it for 13 years and... Oh my god. Do I ever smash my head against the wall? Like it maybe happens more now, I don't know. It happens with different things, I would say. Like, it's... Yeah, I don't know the best way to really, like, talk about that, and, like, how it's changed over time, because it doesn't feel like it has in some ways. Yeah, where's the capture time? This is, like, different things. I don't know why. I just headbutt my wall, or headbutt my wall. Don't mind me. I need more caffeine. This is Revenant look. Yeah, this is like... That's what I'm looking for. Like some of these, like this is straight Revenant. Although the edit is just not Revenant at all. But yeah, there's like this campground that was closed. And it was just all this mud like this. And so there was, like, this is so damn thick. And I just kept on, like, trying to go on here and step on all these different logs and try and get better angles. But this campground that I went through was all closed up. And there was, like, literally no one around. This is, like, the middle of nowhere. It was, like, it wasn't winter time, so, like, bears were still around. And I'm just, like, not crazy about bears. I'll be very candid about it. Bears and sharks. Like, I won't be shy about it. Not a fan. And, like, I was out on, like, one of these logs. I think for the shot I was editing. And I just hear, like, something coming through the brush in the background. And it's just, like, trying to, like, walk over these logs really quickly. Had all these missteps. Buried my foot in the mud. And, like, I could just hear, like, this, whatever it was big, and it was in the bushes, and it just kind of, like, sauntered away. But I never saw it. But I'm absolutely going to maintain that it was like, the biggest fucking grizzly bear ever in history. Oh, black and white. It doesn't look bad. Let's see if I can get colors to work. Feels like magenta-y. Kind of like that it's warm. I don't know. Colors are interesting on this one. Because I think that's Mount Hood? which mountain that is. I don't know if it's this that's throwing me off. I can't see shit. Turn the lights off. I should do this more often. Some things come quicker to you than others, but when it's something experimental, it's a lot of mental back and forth that leads to doubt. After 12 years, I'll learn to say, fuck it. Yeah, me and you, so. I hear you, Ben. When you know, you know. Yep. That was... I keep bringing it up, but... I mean, the photo website, like the whole joystick thing. I mean, I kind of like talked through some of it, but... Man, it's like... Problem is, like... I'm not saying I know too much, but I know, like, when something's wrong. Whereas, like, when you're more junior, like, you don't know that you just did something wrong. So it's like, oh, shit, like... Now I know I shouldn't do that versus just, like, oh, yeah, sick. Like, got that figured out, and it goes off to the developer, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't work. Fuck. That happened a lot. There were a lot of times where I thought I kind of figured it out. I did not figure it out. When you see a bear become a Russian, caption this. Caption says, this is Russian son. Or this is Russian son. Russians do seem to have a better, they do seem better at dealing with bears. Was it Khabib, like, wrestles bears? Or he used to wrestle bears with his dad? Yeah, wrestling bear. Like, how wild is this shit? Like, no wonder he's beating the hell out of everyone. That's a huge bear. Oh, that's not him. That's a random guy. I don't know. This is really weird, but yeah. Not going to be me. I will be running the other direction if I hear a bear. This is another one where, like, I don't know the right vibe for this. It's like the blue and cold seems like an easy, obvious choice. Balance needs to come down. Oh, I just fucked it up. Gotta do the balance first. For me, the worst pain is redoing my folio. Too open-ended, too much excitement, a recipe for disaster. You're talking to the right person, man. Misery loves company. I hear you loud and clear. It's... Oh, man. There's like so... Yeah, there's so much hope. Oh, come on. I wonder if I'm doing smart previews if I can do it this big now. Yeah, there's no guardrail, so it's like, where the hell do I start? What's the right thing for me to do? What's the style? What's the content strategy? What's, like, everything is just in question. You can't run really, it will catch up. You need to do a lot of noises and not too aggressive. Yeah, that's my understanding. Because I heard also, like, depending if it's a black bear or grizzly bear, black bears can climb trees, so even if you do that, you're fucked. It's just like, just give in. The bear's gonna win. I had bear mace with me. That was like the one thing I kept with me at all times. I had a knife and bear mace. Although if a bear really wants to eat me, I don't think either of those is really gonna stop it. Actually, I want to look at my lights off setting. It's too dark. Let's do 50. I really do love this feature, this lights off. I don't know if you ever use it. Push L, just dims everything. Gives you like a cleaner look. You don't get like contaminated by like any external display sort of shit. Not gonna lie, I'm not crazy about this grade. Looks like there's banding through here. I don't think a master's gonna save it. One thing I don't understand is why the lights out doesn't just not get applied to that. If you have enough hair on your body, the bear might think you're one of them and leave you alone. You know what? I might be alright then. It's not my favorite characteristic, but might as well put it to use at some point. Yeah, I think I'm one of them. I don't think this is gonna go well. It's not going well. Yeah, that's not it. What happened? I'm like doing all the hardest images, like ones that I've struggled with so much. Oh my god. This video of a bear chasing a guy in a city and gets hit by a bus and runs away. The guy doesn't stop to look back. I'm not gonna lie, I probably wouldn't stop either. I would just be like, sorry bear, hope you're alright. Kinda hope you aren't. Selfishly, but oh man. Ooh, that is not what it should be. Yeah, there's so many crazy stories about bears. I don't know what it is. I think like you hear the stories about like bears don't kill you, they just eat you. And I think mountain lions are the same way. Where it's like they don't kill you. They'll just like eat you alive and you'll more or less be alive for it. Doesn't sound very fun. So that's why I always been like, have that picture in my head and just be like, oh. Yeah, I'd like to stay away from bears. But I also assume the worst in almost everything. Like, I map everything against the worst case scenario. That's kind of my thing, for better or worse. It's great for self-preservation, but it's not for the best for like risk-taking or getting out and being adventurous sometimes. Kind of a puss. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie about that. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more into the whole self-preservation thing. It's kind of a good route, you know? It's like sharks. It's like if a spot's like pretty sharky, I kind of don't want to swim it anymore. There's a spot with a lot of bears. It's like, probably not gonna go alone. on like hikes and camp overnight or anything. Even now, like if the waves, there's like a point of diminishing return where it's like I don't swim Hawaii anymore when it gets big. I only did it a couple times, mostly because I had a false sense of confidence. But yeah, oh, fuck, I didn't do it again. Someday I'll learn to get that balance right. But yeah, I just like see all these like adverse conditions, and it's just like, man, I'm good. It's not the most. It's probably not what you want to hear out of like a outdoor adventure type photographer, but that's kind of my reality. I'm good with owning it. Really dark. See, this is kind of useless information. I think pulling the master luminance should help. Kind of. Yeah, I don't need. This is like useless to me. Why am I doing so much to preserve it? Yeah, see, it just goes flat is the problem. It's like I just don't need that information. I know how I can do it, I just don't want to do it. It's basically bringing this curve up. Yeah, I guess I could. It just feels like overly faded. I get really sensitive about it. Maybe somewhere in the middle. If it's okay, would you please share how you started your career and describe a few years in? I'm just going to graduate and I'd like to think that I have a taste in design, so I want to hear your start. My start? I how did I start? I got my first internship off of a contest at my school. I just submitted my portfolio as something for interactive work, and I ended up getting in as an intern, and then they hired me on after that. Got really lucky, had some great mentors. Like, it's a pretty good shop. It's not like top tier, not like top tier, although I don't know. They do some solid work. They work with Apple. But just some of the mentors there just taught me like the right things at the right time, which I think I was pretty lucky. I had someone asking me about like how to find a mentor, and I think I've just lucked into it. Just finding like I don't know. The first one was just blind luck. I had no way of knowing. There were multiple mentors there. It was kind of a bigger shop, and then like it's really just like the beginning for me was all about just like grinding, and I was really hungry. I don't know, like it's probably not the best for everyone, but I just really wanted to be the best. And so I would work late nights, I would just volunteer for all sorts of things, and I definitely got exploited without a doubt. Um, like I worked just crazy hours, and so I just was like a sponge. I went to an agency. I stayed there till senior designer. That was my first 3 years. Stayed at the same place, just got up through the ranks. I found that there was a good structure around me for me to grow, lots of people for me to learn off of. Um, and that's the one thing I would just say is like make sure you have someone you can learn off of, or like a mentor that's valuable to you. If there's not someone there who's like imparting any knowledge on you, I would say get out. Like anyone can give you work, but if they're not giving you any knowledge, like just kick rocks. Find somewhere else, if you can. I think that's the ideal situation, is where there's flexibility to find something else. Because there's a lot of shops that also will see junior resources and they'll just like give them the bullshit work that no one else wants to do. Which I did a lot of bullshit work, but they rewarded me, I feel like, for doing all the bullshit work of just like processing images, doing all the shit no one wanted to do. So definitely like do that stuff. It sucks. You're gonna have to deal with it for a little bit. But yeah. And then like you just start like picking up things along the way in terms of like talking to different people. I went to different shops. They had different workflows, different ideas, different priorities. Yeah, just like being a sponge, I would say, is the biggest thing. And you kind of just start learning lessons for yourselves, and you can kind of create internal hierarchy of like what's the most important. Because not everything. It's like your parents. Like you grow up thinking your parents know everything, but then as you kind of get older, you're like, I don't know, like that's kind of bullshit. Like that doesn't make sense. And you kind of get that way with like senior, like people above you in some places. Like you think they can do no wrong until you kind of like learn, and like not that you overstep them, but you start like being able to question, and that's when you're kind of internalizing things. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything specific to that question in terms of like how you start. I know it was kind of a vague answer. Preach, brother, preach. Plan for the worst. That way you're always prepared. Yup. Yeah, there's a local hike I was looking at doing with my girlfriend, and it's like a 1 mile loop on like a paved road, and someone on Yelp, or no, it wasn't paved. It was dirt, but it was like a bike path. Like it was so flat you could ride a bike path on. It was like, this is an amazing hike, but hiking is dangerous. Know your limits. Pack all this water, and it's like this flat, casual hike, and this person's just tripping out. It's like, you're not wrong. Like it's good. Plan for it, but I think on a mile flat hike, you're probably not going to run into too much shit. There should be a bear mace #2. You don't spray the bear, you spray yourself and start to smell like a corpse. Then pretend you're dead so it doesn't eat you. Oh, fuck. That's dark. Never thought about that. Spraying myself. Yeah, just... No bears will fuck with me then. Unless the bear likes spicy food, then I'm fucked. These dark images would be cool for a horror children's book. Are those a thing? If they are, sign me up. I'm down to scare little kids. All they do is cry and make a bunch of fucking noise, so I feel like I owe them one. Payback. It's getting better. I mean, it's definitely better than the original. This is the old one. What's the new one? It's still like, I can't flatten it that much. I like the fact that it removes all the details, and there might be another way of doing it, but I can't. I can't do it. Maybe that's getting there. I just look at that spike on the histogram. Kind of scares me when it's that narrow and that steep. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Selects dark Terra. think I can export that. Market green. Oh yeah, and there were all these like, so like clearly something was trying to get into these dumpsters too. And there's just so many leaves, like, because none of the park rangers were there. It was like right where you think a bear would be too. Fucking bears. Not really mad about that. I think if I soften, so it is soft. Grain settings are just not right. Oh, it's going the wrong way. You know what, I'm just gonna leave it. I want to see with the fresh start what happens. My start was different than most. I jumped from job to job after college and eventually started freelancing on small things. Then marketed myself as an agency and picked up bigger clients and projects. Ended up selling the agency in my 20s because I was too burnt out. Damn, good on you for getting in, getting out. Dude, it is. Man, owning an agency, not easy. I think I mentioned it before. It was like always my end goal until I saw what it actually took. And I was like, nope, I'm good. The people I knew who did it were just like not sleeping. I don't know. Just wild. And you have the headache of margins, salaries, design constantly being commoditized and having to like undercut budget. It is not for the faint of heart. The minute you feel you stop learning something, move on. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you'd agree with it too about like it feels like there's an inflection point to be found where it's like, oh, you might have a mentor that's good or bad. I think that's kind of a different aspect than what I'm talking about now, but like with time spent at an agency or any job really, of like when you're providing more than you're getting back. I always think that's a point to look out for. Whether that's knowledge or just work output, or compensation for said work. Fuck, I forgot to do it again. It's like once you get up to like the higher up levels at an agency, it's like you should have equity if you're gonna, if ownership's gonna treat it as a almost like a startup where it's like long hours are expected because we're building the business, but you kind of have to turn around and treat them as like startup employees and give them equity of some sort or compensate them accordingly. Because the minute like you're doing all of the giving in like a work relationship, like that's another a point I would look out for. of like learning's one thing, but then like what you're contributing and how that's factoring into the big picture. And I'm probably biased here because I've been burned and I'm very cynical about that very topic, for better or worse. So that might just be my sort of thing, where it's like I've learned to become more selfish, sadly. I need to come up with a lot of bullshit work for newbies to do. Yeah, like I said, like I mean, I don't know if I call it bullshit work. There's definitely a good bit of it. I think the good shops find a way to disperse that evenly. Um, because there's something to be said about growing juniors. Like if you just feed them shit all day, like they're just gonna make shit all day. But if you ever want them to be something that can turn into like a more capable resource who can handle more, because like the first thing everyone wants to offload is bullshit work. But there's going to be times where there's just like four projects coming in and you need a resource to kind of like step up and be able to handle something beyond like image processing. But if all you gave them was just like optimizing images, that's all they're going to be good for. So it really is in the business's best interest to help grow people. The other problem is you grow someone so much and then they're going to want a certain salary and that's not always in the budget. So that's where it's like you invest all this time in growing someone, they just bounce for better opportunity elsewhere. I know exactly where you're going with this. My answer is yes, I totally agree with you. I'm assuming that's the whole job portion of it. And I think I have like a very, it's potentially naive in terms of like oversimplifying things. And I think that's I'll caveat everything I'm saying about this and my perspective on all this stuff is like it's at risk of oversimplifying very complicated things. And I think there's nothing worse than oversimplifying like I don't know, it like overlooks all the nuance, all of like the little details that make things the way they are. And like it's and if you're just like glossing over those things, it's kind of doing you a disservice. Like yes, you've kind of like put a neat bow around it and created it like this is either good or bad, but I think it's hard, but like digging into the details of why things are the way they are. And it's not always like, oh, it's good or it's bad. I just have my experience to lean on, and it's probably pretty narrow in the broad scheme of things. I'll be the first to acknowledge that. I gotta write one more text. Sorry. But also, I love having these kind of conversations in these streams. Like, I think it's super valuable. Like someone like Sal who's been in the ownership side of things. Like, I don't have that experience. I I do my own like freelance thing, and I've been an employee, and that's it. And I've had conversations with owners kind of about things like this, but there's something to be said about the actual experience and actually knowing the ins and outs of it. Like I'm probably oversimplifying, and yeah, it's impossible to account for all those things unless you're actually in those shoes. Sorry. There you go. Thank you both. I think both of you. I really appreciate the streams. We get to learn a lot from the streams and so many experienced people. You're welcome, man. I mean, oh shit, iPad's gonna die. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people. I mean, I don't think I'm like a trailblazer or anything, but you don't find a lot of people talking about some of this stuff. Doesn't make for good conference talk. Everyone's experience is always different, but by the sounds of it, you and I have shared similar experiences along the way. In the end, we're both trying to condense 12 plus years of stuff into here. Yeah. We're bound to oversimplify shit, 1000%. Yeah. It's like one of those things, like if you really want to understand the nuance, like it's going to crack open a couple beers and, you know, can really dive into it, but you're gonna have to trust some of my deductions and simplifications that they're not gross negligence in how they're being done, but yeah. Too saturated. Oh. This is probably ill-advised. Yeah, I like this better. I think it's still a little chunky on the low end. It's like almost better to do this. Although I don't. It's too much though. I'm very tepid about touching this bottom point anymore. I used to be so aggressive with it. You're like, oh yeah, like let's go up here. Don't do that. 5 is the right. I don't know. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels on this now. Also need to always learn stuff that is not your job but close so that you can grow wide, not just high. Yep. Always. I mean, it's helpful to have that additional information. There are certain things like you don't want to like impede yourself at some points by trying to worry about too much. But yeah, like the more you know, it's like in like the interactive industry. Like, have you ever come across like a designer who knows any form of development and knows the development limitations, which I think most designers should. They're more valuable. Or if you know developers who understand design aesthetics, like for me working with Ari, like him having that sort of tangential knowledge is super valuable. Or product, one of the best ones is project managers who actually know the design and dev process. Like I actually worked with some project managers who used to be developers, and so they were so ingrained. Like developers know timelines probably better than anyone because they always get screwed the hardest by them. So, and it was like everything they asked for, they knew exactly what they were asking for. They knew they weren't asking for anything impossible. They knew if they were asking for something hard, they knew how to go about doing it, how to kind of walk that line sometimes. So it is definitely valuable to know those things. But yeah, for sure at a point, like, I don't know, I'll never say like learning something's a bad idea. I think the more you know, the better. It's just where you put that energy. And I think I'm sort of struggling with it now. Like I've made it a point to go super wide. And it's okay. I think I get by in a lot of these things. Like I'm sure a professional photographer would look at what I'm doing with my color grades and have all sorts of notes of shit that I shouldn't be doing. Oh yeah, that's nice. It's like, is that a swastika? Yeah, it is. Um, I think design's probably the one place where I don't know. Like, I'm not even like, I don't know. There's always room to grow, but like in everything I've done, I see it as an asset. But could I have spent my time better? Like, is my time better spent focusing and narrowing in on something versus like learning a new skill? I mean, maybe. I feel like I've crossed that point because it's like I told awards like I'm putting the whole class thing on hold because I just don't know what to teach. Like something where I'm gonna put down like a definitive class. And the thing is, the space is kind of crowded. Also, they wanted me to do something with webflow, but even with webflow, like I'm not a developer. Am I naming my divs properly? Like, is this the best structure to do this? I don't know. It's what I do. I've had developers laugh at me, like the ones who I've talked to, and I've like showed them what I'm doing. They're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, I don't know. I'm just using this interface, and it kind of works. Like it's got a thought to it. But it's like I shouldn't teach web development. I can maybe teach color grading, but even then, maybe design I could probably teach because I've spent my entire career doing that. But I'm still not like the best at it. Because there was a while like where I think I was like on. I think like the Nixon project I did was kind of at like the forefront of what was going on at that time in terms of like functional web design that was also like had a decent aesthetic to it. Um, and like the e-commerce space at least. And then I fell off and I focused on photos. And I think in that time, like my design regressed so much. Um, it's great now that I know photos and color grading and all that stuff, but would I have been better served by just like keeping at design and not like I literally didn't spend a minute outside of work hours on design for like 3-4 years. I was just 100% photos. Um, and yeah, so that's where it's like I don't know. That's kind of like value judgments, and everyone's gonna have a different like takeaway on that. Some people might think like, oh yeah, it's better to know more, and some people might think like, no, like just focus and become a master at one thing. It's like, um, I mean, I look at like Japan's culture where it comes down to like put such a priority on mastering things. It's like I always think of like the what's the sushi documentary? Jiro. It's like the guy who's like 50 years old, and he's still just like making rice, and he's like got it down, and like his whole thing is just like mastering making rice, and that like he's gonna be the best. Like he's put in the time. Like there's no doubt. Like with a lot of these things, there's just no getting around putting the time in. And so like I've personally my perspective was to go the other way and just go wide. Like I just kind of want to do everything. Then it's all fun learning new things. Doesn't make me the most marketable at the end of the day, though. So that's the kind of trade-off I have to live with. I feel like a fucking parakeet over here. The cheerleading section is another bit. No, you're all good, Sal, man. Uh, and if there's anything you don't agree with, like I love having conversations and learning. Like, yeah, I think I said it last time. It sounds like a Hallmark card, or like some hang in there poster type shit of um, like every time I'm wrong, I'm learning something. So, if you guys ever disagree, like definitely don't be shy. Like, call me out on my shit. I'd love to know. But if you agree, like that's cool too. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear I'm not totally crazy. Being able to work doesn't equal being able to teach, because teaching requires having structure to it. Otherwise, it's just masterclass. Yeah, yeah. Being able to work doesn't equal. Yeah, there's plenty of people who work in like creative industries who have no business teaching. Um, and the irony of me like like doing an awards class is like I've always maintained that a lot of these people who do these classes are just like you had to pick a lane of you only have so much time in the day. Like, are you going to market yourself as a designer, or are you just going to work on yourself as a designer? And some people can do both. There's like the very few who I think have done a really good job at marketing themselves and mastering their craft, but you kind of have to pick a lane. Um, and so I used to say, like, if you ever find me on a stage at a conference, like, I've lost my way. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that now. I think depends what you talk about and how you position it. There's some truth to it, but it's not entirely true. Um, but yeah, like some of the people, like me being kind of quiet and introverted, um, I've always had the idea that like oftentimes the people who talk the most have the least to say. Like people just feel like they need to like fill the void with just shit, and like I'll sit quietly. Like it's actually the irony is I do feel obligated to kind of fill the dead air, kind of talk about what I'm doing. Hopefully in the context of teaching, but there's a lot of people who just like I don't know. They love to tell people what to do, and they haven't put in the time that other people have, but they're not going to be the ones who have the interest or bandwidth to go teach people. Um, and I think I'm more in like the latter, where my interest is more in doing than like carving out time. Because even like the requirements for all of like the awards classes was just like it's a lot of shit. Like you have to put a lot of thought, a lot of structure, be very strategic about these things. Or I can just jump on here and just like field questions as I'm working, and I can kind of help that way. I don't know. Maybe it's probably not as useful as like some of those that are very direct. Um, but it's a decent step. You know, I'm doing what I can. I think. Uh, that's gotta go. I just need to find it. 06955. Hmm. What happened here? Oh, is this new? Oh. It's always my way of telling if something's new. Either the grain or how high this last point is, because it's much higher than it usually is. It's like 10, 5 to 10 is usually where it's at. And clarity. If I haven't dumped this, then it's not new. Or if I've, because this is new. Otherwise, I mean, this isn't terrible. Here's what these other ones are. Oh, so this is, yeah, modifying the red. You can see all the red in the shadows. This is where I went a little hard in the paint on the red and the shadows. It like neutralizes in some ways, but it just gives it this weird sort of tint to it. Yeah, see, that's too much of a bump. Just a little bump. Too green. I should just start over. This is the one this is from Capture One. Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't. Start over. little green still. Another one where the camera white balance is just going to be so far off. So I'll do a little, like, I'll offset the temp a little bit, but I try not to. I'm trying to be a good example there, but I know I'm not always the best. I try, don't color grade through the global parameter, but I do it. I don't know how I like sort of honed in on very specific blues and colors that I do. It doesn't really make sense, but I do find I'm fairly consistent with where my eye goes. Sometimes, that's one of the few things, like the blues that I prefer, I think are fairly consistent. Everything else is just, who the fuck knows where it's gonna go. I kind of like the purple highlights. I've been trying that lately and I kind of like it. Then the global sort of helps tame those down a little bit. Oh, I don't think I saw it. I did read that. Your point of PM's knowing design and dev. PM knowing design and dev and learning from devs. Yeah. Yeah, that sort of crossover is just super valuable. I think my brother's actually one. He's a product manager, but he came up like doing all the coding himself. So he actually like dives into Xcode and like so he's got a team of developers doing all this shit and he's like moved away from it, but he knows enough to like go in there now and actually like he writes a lot of code. It's kind of wild. But like I think the team that he manages respects him because he never asks for anything that's impossible. He's been there, he's put in all the hard work, he's done all like the bug squashing and all that shit that you have to do. Because that's the other thing is like if you're gonna work for someone, you kind of want to. I think you hear the analogy a lot with. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's in movies with like military people where it's like people have a hard time respecting someone who hasn't like come up through the ranks. Like someone who's just like found themselves at the top. Like it's gonna be really hard for someone to sort of stomach and like take direction from someone who doesn't really know. I've had it before and like I had a hard time. For sure. Like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you'd been here and like gone through this shit, you would know that you're asking something really stupid right now. I can never say this, but it's like this is what's going on in my mind as I hear some of these things. It's just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like this is like day one type shit. But there's people who find themselves in positions of authority and decision making in companies who have no business getting there. It's the Peter principle. I'm a firm believer. It's like with enough time you get promoted beyond your abilities. And so some people just where that is, like it's all different, but just cross that threshold where it's like you're probably not the best person for this anymore. Like even for me, like as I get more into like the management, like as I was getting more senior, like I just had to get more into like managing, like I don't know. If you like start taking on the responsibility of managing people's salary, managing their growth path, and all this shit, it's just like I could do it. It's just like that's not my strength. So I would probably hit my Peter principle that way, of just like too much of like a management role, and like I probably don't have the best personality for it. Oh, don't open one password. Can't be putting that on stream. Torn whether I like this or not. A little too punched in. It's not sharp? Oh no, it's sharp. That's the smart previews. Oh, see now it's loaded the full thing. It's bugging. Oh. But see, that's like kind of just no man's land. Too much of this, and it's just like, yeah, it's interesting texture, but this to me is where all the visual interest is. Purple Highlights is a cool band name. What kind of music does Purple Highlights make, though? Is it like is it like a Fish? Like jam band type thing? What are we going for here? It's got to be something with staying high, right? Doesn't have to. It's just not a bad idea, I don't think. Simple is how people who don't have a fucking clue describe other people's jobs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially the people who want free work. Oh, this will take you 2 minutes. Just do it. It's like, fuck you, you do it. Like, it's going to take me 2 minutes and 12 years of experience to do this shit. That always gets me fucking bothered. That's where I get like really... I don't like asking anyone for anything free, as I think I'm moving away from Purple Highlights. I'm sorry. Yeah, like asking someone who's like a tax attorney, a friend who's like a tax attorney to look at your taxes. I'm always like, oh, fuck. Like, that's just like someone asking me for free design. I always try and offer like a trade if it's at all, like depending on what I'm asking. And as I'm doing laps on this highlights color. These oranges are interesting through here. But you can see how much it's chugging now that I'm at full res. There's a lot of pixels here. They do Wonder House? Do I know it? What's Wonder House? Fuck. I'm old. Damn it, Alexa, you're pointing out how old I am. For sure, unless it's Ari asking for free shit, I'd jump at that chance. Yeah. That's how it was with his folio. It's like, I was not expecting to do that with my time. I wanted to do like passion project and shit that was fun, but I didn't expect quite that. When he asked, it's like, yeah, I'll do that. There's like, you also hear it too, people trying to oversimplify the idea of doing free work. Sometimes it's worth it. Like 13 years in, like I'm doing a lot of free work these days. The last, since April? All of May, all of June, part of July. Yeah, I've been like unpaid and just doing work. It's all been for other, like photo website's kind of nice because it's turning back in on myself, and I'm doing a lot of my own shit. But Like there's still like with me going freelance, I need work that I can point to that shows I can do this shit on my own, or like with a lean team. Like me and Ari, like we can make a website that's interesting. Like hire us. Um, and so doing that shit with him was, I don't know, I think super valuable even because you're like the yardstick always changes on like what you're looking for. It's like if you need to get a leg up in something but you don't have the experience, like sorry, you're probably gonna have to suck it up and do something for free. Um, and it's like people who want to get into like design late in life. It's like sorry, you're probably gonna have to eat shit like I did as a 22-year-old. Like you're gonna have to just do like the shit work, and you're gonna have to probably take on free work and or like yeah, like I don't know. It always changes, and like depending what you're looking for, you might have to take on free stuff or make sacrifices to get there. That's all. There's no fucking way that's the one I just did, is there? Oh god, it is. Fuck. It's so blue. I blew it. Show myself out. You're not old. I just came up with that term. As I make a dad joke, I mean, you can take that back right now. That's okay. I'm like an old soul, but I am childish as shit. So I don't know where that puts me. I'm somewhere in the middle, I guess. That's how I would put it. Right, there's no saturation here. I like never do this, but I just don't care. Fuck it. Tempest, fuck it. I call this Wonder House. Oh, AC Slayer? I know AC Slater, the musician. I mean, I don't know if this is gonna be like. I don't want to get flagged on. I don't know how loud this is gonna be. I have no control over volume, so Godspeed on this one. I just may need a jump. This looks like the video of like the kid in the club. Love that shit. This guy takes old videos and combines them into clips from modern music. That's interesting. So maybe that's, oh man. Yeah, see AC Slater I've heard of. AC Slayer. Yeah, see, I'd play more, but I'm worried about it. Or they take a 2 to 4 week boot camp and automatically become a senior product designer. Fuck, you sound like me, man. Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's usually all it takes. A couple weeks. Nothing gets me more than like all these influencers or like celebrities who are suddenly creative directors. Just like, get the fuck out of here. It's like who they bring them on as like honorary creative directors, and I was like, you fucks, like, you're just making this harder for everyone who's actually won. Like, put in the time. crop's better. Almost everything's better about this. Except that's not what I was just looking at. Was it? I'm losing my mind, I feel like. Dad jokes are the best. Oh, don't encourage me, I'm telling you. I am... Like, my brain just... It thinks in dad jokes. I don't even mean to do them. They just... Because if you ask me for a dad joke on the spot, I probably won't have any. But if something comes up where there's just like a really just like face palm worthy pun, I'm going for it. I am absolutely like, give me an inch, I'll take a mile. So if that's the sentiment here, this is like a dad joke safe space, then I mean, Alexa, I mean, you might be the one people start getting mad at. It's like I'll feel enabled. I'll take responsibility for my actions. I'm proud of my dad jokes. They're significantly stupid. Just wait. Again, like, I have nothing on command, but they'll show up. I know it. I haven't seen these in a minute. That's not blood, by the way, in case you were wondering. Didn't know there were multiple edits of this. That's not good. That's a different shot. I feel like I should just make it blue. Or just change the color so people feel more comfortable. I feel like you see like the red dripping and you're just like, ooh, like, I don't know. Yeah, I like the colors of this. You can see the grains. Oh, 80. Holy shit. What was I thinking? Hit it with some dehaze. I can be pretty aggressive about this because there's no like high contrast areas. You might see like ghosting in some of these kind of drops, but not too bad. All right, I like that, but I want to see what happens if I start from scratch. See if I can do this quickly. Kind of have an idea of where I want to go with it. Another one that I kind of struggle with, like the identity. It's like, it's pretty bright in here, but all like these shots just lean in. I don't know, I feel like they're asking for like to go dark. Don't know why. Personal bias. Probably the easiest answer. kind of like the weird like blue highlights. Oh shit. My favorite dad joke, not a dad one, but about a dad. Let's see what we got. Oedipus. No, you didn't. It's pretty good. Yeah, speaking of, I don't know. I kind of like the red. Fuck it. People aren't comfortable, that's their problem. It's paint. It's resin. This is more reds in the shadows. I think I can get that back. What's funny is it's much closer than most of my edits if I do them in isolation. But this is actually more here. Soften that a little bit. It's actually like dumping the reds. Just gives it like this weird sort of like dissonance to it. Like it does make it more like bluish green depending on where these values are, but I kind of like it personally. It's close. Oh wow. I still think I like this better. Maybe it's just because I've gone through the HSL as well. At this point, it's pretty negligible. I just think this is likely cleaner, having started from here. And kind of force like the blue sort of highlights attention. I am big. What's going on? Yeah, getting through some photos again. Not sure how much longer I'm gonna be on. Oh, you're calling it yourself? Yeah, thanks for stopping through. Yeah, I just had some random time. Oh shit, it's already 11:30. Dang. I might have to get off soon. I have to get up early tomorrow. Fuck. I have to get up at like 6. I mean, it's not that early. I get up that time every day, but probably if I want to make coffee before I leave, it's turning into like 5:30. Oh, so fun. buddy. Why does it skip it? What the hell? Also interesting. It's a very different feel. Oh, also, getting an actual mic. I don't know when it's going to be delivered, but it is ordered. So none of this like fucking crazy shit. An actual real microphone. You can hear all my ums and likes and all that shit. Maybe you can even hear my air conditioner. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but the main reasons for, again, trying to get those short YouTube videos going, I think that's definitely where there's going to be some value. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave this yellow. Selects, surf, South Bay. Incidental? Nah, that's surf. But yeah, I think that's going to be happening soon. I got the music production. I'm wrapping my head around some of that. I'm looking at just all the different things I need to do for it. And if you have any suggestions for, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of like regulars here who, if you've had questions, you've been able to ask. But if there was a YouTube video, I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of like technical stuff. I've already gone on ad nauseum about that on here, so. Where? There were more good images. It's the panning shot. Oh, yeah. There's 3 of them. Interesting. Don't know if it's in a good way yet. Oh, struggle bus? Yeah, make videos of how you struggle and leave the pic, call them struggle bus. I mean, how much time? Like, that could be like a 1,000-part series. That'd be kind of interesting though. Just like illuminate very much the fact of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Even if you did, now you probably had that illusion shattered. Yeah, it might make people feel good, you know? Not a bad idea. If I could just heal that. I'm just looking at this. You can see my cursor. Yeah, you can. That's feeling a little problematic. Kind of a random shot. Texture. There's so many I have to go through. I like slowly am realizing that I've just disregarded so many images. you seen Trago YouTube channel? I don't think so.
Discuss what art is or isn't. All I know is that Too Fast, Too Furious and Tokyo Drift are about fun, but the kind of fun that meant something. Fun with a childlike glow, the kind of fun that filled you with a vigor that extended.
His voice is just wild.
It's beyond the silver screen and is not simply forgotten the next day. Sean is a...
I'll have to dive into these. I mean, I'm definitely like going wide in terms of like what I want to do with them. I want to do something different. I don't think me narrating in like a action film voice is probably gonna be my thing. But those, I mean, it sounds like he probably has some interesting takes on everything. What? Oh, why is this all South Bay? Yeah, I might need to call it right there though. Yeah, it's 11:30. I'm getting up in like 6 hours. Still got to pack. And Shu on Twitch had him on podcast, and it has it on his YouTube too. You can watch it. The guy sounds awesome, but also his mind wanders a lot. Yeah, let's check it out. I mean, I was just looking at some of the thumbnail titles. Haze is horrendous. Films are fabulous. Yeah, I mean, definitely interesting. It seems like a different take. I definitely want to hear like the substance of what he's saying. Seems like it's probably pretty good. But yeah, sorry. I think that's my. If I ever needed a cue, that was the time to go. I think that might be it. But I'll be off. I'll probably be back Friday, West Coast time, LA. I don't know what that is internationally. It's gonna be gone for a couple days. I got a couple things I got to get out pretty quickly over the next couple days. Maybe Thursday. We'll see. Yeah, I mean it's almost Wednesday. Wednesday's out. Thursday maybe, probably Friday. But yeah. Thank you again, everyone. Came through. Always tons of fun. Oh shit. Well, it's on my lock screen. I think. I don't know what you saw. But yeah, I'll be back for sure Friday, maybe Thursday. And again, probably photos, but definitely feel free to leave comments on the YouTube. And it will be YouTube and Twitch for a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer. But yeah, and again, cool announcement coming up. Can't wait to share it. Yeah.